You are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain more clients, create more impact and more revenue in your business. Tune in to Amplify Your Marketing Message with Campbell Rapin. Every week, we're going to take you through how to build an audience of buyers, mastering your marketing message, and making offers that convert consistently. We'll see you all on the inside. Welcome back, everybody. I want to know if you identify yourself as a lifelong learner. Somebody who invests in training, education, events, knowledge sharing, books, podcasts, courses. The list is endless. Hands up if you have ever been to one of them. How about in the last 30 days? How about in the last 7 days? Well, if you have, chances are that you have a notebook filled with great ideas. And you've sat like a studious student, and you've listened, and you've been inspired, and you have felt the sizzle of change, the idea of change, and potentially, I said, the light bulb that says that's how I want to change. But have you really changed, my friends? That's what we're going to be talking about today on Amplify Your Marketing Message, because there is a big stink going on in the room right now. This lifelong learner who's not applying what they're learning and are going nowhere with their light bulb moments. And I know I am a person who facilitates these kind of events. And I have this podcast, and I put out content intentionally to help you learn. And I invite you regularly to apply the learning and find your gap. I invite you to move to bridge the gap. And truthfully, only a small percent of you are actually taking the action. They're the ones who become my clients. And everybody else is a fan and a person who signs up for the next event and the next event and the next event. And I love seeing you there. But seriously, what are you waiting for? I've asked you this question. What was your takeaway from the workshop, from the podcast, from time in a session with me? And every time I ask that question with 100% certainty, I get an answer. Somebody says one or two things that stood out for them in this moment in time, something that excites them, something that they are hopeful in terms of, I can implement this and see transformation. But you're living in the field of dreams business strategy, and you and I are both polluting the environment with that hope. Because truthfully, field of dreams business strategy, you know the one, my friends. I'll show up and by osmosis, I'll get it, or I'll build the field and they'll just magically appear. And those that they were talking about here are your clients that will pay you cash. Wake up. That is a great movie plot. Debatable. I was a fan. But it is not a good business strategy. In fact, it is not a strategy that I would advocate at all. And yet it is very, very, very common. Because the truth is, if you are embracing this badge of honor that you're a lifelong learner, it is time to wake up and say, what are you applying? And in fact, I might be advocating for you to slow down the learning until you've applied what you learned last week. Because here's the real truth. When so many of my clients come to me, they come to me because of the lack of integration, not generally because of a lack of knowledge. Because they can get the knowledge from me in so many other ways. You want to know how to grow a business? There are more than 100 episodes in this podcast that answer that question for you. Go listen to them. And if you need guidance, ping me. hello@ChristineCampbellRapin.com is my email address, and say, this is my problem. This is my knowledge gap. Could you recommend some episodes? And I will gladly respond to you with a list that will help you address the knowledge. They say, I don't think it's really knowledge. Maybe there's something in the knowledge I'm missing. But Christine, my problem is I don't know what to do next. I'm struggling to shift from the light bulb moment and the identifying in the gap and the integration of the knowledge to create results. And that's where it all matters. Because if you go to these amazing events, and I know there are amazing events out there, I go to them, I host them, time passes and nothing changes, then the transformation you want is just a hope strategy. The transformation isn't happening, or it's happening in such a slow rate that it's falling well short of your own expectations. That's you, my friends. I'm calling BS. Because a notebook, no matter how pretty, and I'm a bit of a fan, everyone knows I love notebooks, and all of my clients get notebooks as they come on to work with me because I want you to have an idea of great ideas, a place to hold these great ideas, but I am going to keep your feet to the fire to start implementing, integrating, and to get past the bewilderment of, well, now what? I want you to go and acquire knowledge. But I would love it if you would implement and take action on that knowledge. And so today, I want to just be crystal clear with you that takeaways, light bulbs, ideas in a notebook or on scraps of papers and post-it notes will not get you results. Because knowledge gap is the easiest gap to solve, and you're addicted to the solving of the knowledge, and you're doing diddly squat with it. What if you just implemented 1% of the knowledge you have already required? Imagine for a second how your business would transform quickly. The answer is not in another thing. Remember, guys, business is elegantly simple. I had a conversation last week. It sort of blew my mind and it broke my heart at the same measure. This is somebody who has invested with a lot of diligence, a lot of research, and a lot of dollars past mentorship. And they have a big business dream. They want to create something that will have $1 billion impact. So they're really big dreamers. And they don't know how to get into the rooms of their next buyer. And I said, well, what is going to change? The answer is not really how, because if you're still thinking after you spend all this money with research and other money with mentors and you still don't have knowledge, boy, did you get screwed. So listen to my podcast, because I will answer the question on how. But more importantly, what will you change to learn how to get into that room? And the answer was, Christine, I think I need to work with you. So I made them a proposal. And they said, I have to find the financing to make this happen. Smart response. And then they got scared of the money and said, I'm going to sit and try to do this on my own. And I said, good luck. In 6 months, you will be in exactly the same place, if not further behind, because you're bleeding cash on things that are not moving the needle to get you into the room with the right buyer. You don't understand that right buyer. I have a network of that right buyer. And truthfully, this is the smartest money decision you could make. And you backed away and got scared and said, I'm going to just learn by osmosis. Well, it was heartbreaking. And I said, of course, I am not here to convince you to work with me. You've already decided working with me is the right decision. Your issue is yourself, and that you are not willing to bet on your dreams, and you think the answer is knowledge. It's not. It's what comes after the knowledge. And that individual is just like you. You are acquiring knowledge at a speed that is truly amazing. And you're doing diddly squat with it. So let me just be crystal clear, because I'm on fire about this, that takeaways will not get you the results. Knowing where the gap is the starting block, it is not where the results are found. And putting things into a notebook, let me tell you the stats of learning. They're going to shock you. So beware. Are you ready for this? I'm calling BS. You're going to an event, you're reading a book, you're listening to a podcast, find your vehicle, how you like to learn, whatever kind of knowledge, you're a visual, you're a reader, whatever. I don't care what your framework is, but you're dedicating time, money producing time to learn. Within 24 hours of what you acquired as knowledge, 67% of it is faded. 48 hours later, that number jumps to almost 80% of the knowledge you acquired is faded, which means that's why many of us have learning notebooks and we put things down, because there's stats that also would tell us if we write down what we're learning, we have better attempt at retention. It's not a guarantee, it's an attempt at retention. But if you put that then notebook on the shelf and you just get out that notebook the next time you go to a course, which could be like really frequently for many of you because you're thinking, nope, going to events are really how you're growing your business. That's also BS. Your client is not in that room. Go watch the episode about networking here on this podcast. Their clients are not in the room of networking spaces. You now have very little retained. And because you've done nothing, that's why you're going back into the hit of dopamine and saying, I'm going to learn again. Well, let me just shift this for you, because I want you to slow down your learning and I want you to really think about basic elementary building blocks. When I'm working with my clients, there are 4 questions in the strategy world. Who are you? What do you stand for? That's question number 1, sort of a group, but it's a group. It's about identity. Second thing is, where do you want to play? It's our go-to-market strategy. It's question number 2. We're then saying, what will make you win in that intersection point? What makes you the must hire, which is the way you compete and create competitive advantage. And number 4, it's a question, what capabilities and resources do you need to win predictably and consistently, both short, mid, and long term? Those are really important questions, and I see all of you avoiding them in another workshop, course, podcast, or downloadable. Nothing will happen consistently. You'll never create the multiple 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses by learning the knowledge gap. And what's one of the first questions I ask when I'm at an event so I can read the room in a nanosecond? You have exactly the business you want because of the focus you have on it. You either don't know how to do this. BS, I'm going to show you in 30 minutes. We've solved the problem. I know what I'm doing. It's not working very well, which I'm calling BS. That means you have a blind spot. You in the forest where you cannot see the trees is going to get you nowhere. Get a mentor, hire me, solve the problem. Or number 3, it's I know what to do and I just don't want to do it, which tells me you're not winning and you're not committed and you're not clear on why this is non-negotiable. And until you light your fire and solve that problem, throwing money at anything, time, resources, is just wasted. So quit the field or figure it out. Business is really, really simple, but we address strategy and we get clear on where your gap is. And then we do this. I lead my clients. This is a sneak peek of what it's like to be a one-to-one private client of ours. I take them through the 4 questions. And the most consistent problem is directly derived out of the fact that you have a million light bulbs going off and you don't know what to do with them. And so you respond with a how declaration. You say, I deliver X in business. This is how I do it. It looks like this. This is the name of the program. You call it something and it has 3 bobcats, a unicorn, a lollipop, and people should pay me this amount of money. And you start talking so fast, vomiting at them. And I'm like, that sounds like a how to a problem. What was the question? And there's a very, very uncomfortable truth to that moment in time with my clients, because they're like, I don't know. I said, so you've decided to answer how to something you don't even know what was asked. No wonder you can't find clients. No wonder you're in the wrong room. No wonder you have notebooks full of knowledge that you cannot or will not or choose not to implement. I call BS. Wake up. So a big part of what I spend my time working with my clients is let's pull you back from the how to figure out the what. What does your next client want? Note I didn't say current client. I said, what does your next client want? We have to get into their headspace. We have to define the intersection point. We have to get crystal clear. We walk in rhythm with this person in the dark who's searching on Google, Pinterest, YouTube for an answer in a language that is very specific. And I ask my clients, do we want to play there? And that's not always yes. It's an iterative process, which means we peel it back like an onion until we get crystal clear on the what. And every business struggles with this. So if this is you, you are in very good company. All of us are clear on what we're doing, but we don't know what the other side is doing. And until you can get into the eyes of your buyer, your next client or customer, you are skating on thin ice. That's why I get hired. Because even really successful businesses at multiple 6 and 7 figures says, I can't remember what my what is. I'm really sure I know the how, but it's not working anymore. It's not working anymore because it's shifted or you've shifted. And until you're in the place where you're meeting, you have a hope strategy, field of dreams comes back around again. So we get really clear what. And then I help them fine tune how. And as the client starts to say, I've asked what, I've listened to your how, they start to realize, like you're realizing right now, I have solved the knowledge. I know what I want. I know how to get there, but you're in the same boat that every client is saying, I don't know how to do the next step, which isn't a really linear process. It often comes down to who do I need to be to reach that outcome? Who do I need with me in my inner circle? Whose knowledge, expertise can I borrow, observe, and learn from? And so our next question is who? And when you are a business owner, you're thinking about the who question. The thing that is hard and critical to know is why would someone hire you? Why are you the right who for them? And if you don't know that, it's really hard to have certainty when you're making an offer. And so we spend a lot of time digging around the who. So we're positioning ourselves right for the buyer who's already figured out the what, is looking for an answer. They see our how, we're in consideration, and they're saying, tell me more. And then the final question to work this system of lead gen is why? Why now? Why this offer? Why is this result non-negotiable? And note always in these 4 questions that we lead and create movement around, we are thinking about this like 2 sides of a coin. We are thinking about our stance as the business owner so that we can get really clear how we amplify. We're also thinking really clearly what's the opposite side of that coin for the buyer, customer, or client, because we need to be in their language. We need to be seen, recognized, and truthfully, liked, respected, and chosen by them. This is how we create big ripples. It's not with another course, another book, another workshop, another podcast. It is truthfully that you have enough knowledge now, your biggest gap. You've asked what? You know how. I'm telling you, who can you be working with? I'm suggesting it's me, because if you're still listening to my podcast, you've already chosen that you want to work with me. I'm saying, you know that. Let's get moving. Because a notebook filled with ideas and an idea taken in a workshop ages quickly. Don't get cold feet because you haven't solved the problem. And I know it, and you know it, and your client knows it, and the patterns of your fear are showing up in your next client journey. You got to break the cycle so that we're really clear why it's non-negotiable, why now. I can help you figure out what offer is the right one for you, and we can make a plan. More importantly, we are going to execute the plan. We're heading into the final push of 2024. When are you going to start doing the work? I hope your answer is now, right now. I want you to save this episode. I want you to go to ChristineCampbellRapin.com. I want you to explore the options of working with me. And I want you to show up bravely in a more money, more buyers breakthrough session and say, Christine, I'm tired of having the light bulbs and no impact. I'm ready. I will hold your hand and let's go do this. It is go time, my friends. Build a business dream requires more than hope. It requires a solid what, a clear foundation on how. That's strategy, my friends. You need the right people around you, somebody who knows how to do this, predictably will hold you accountable, and can help you wobble, controlled, and you are clear why this feels like oxygen. So many beautiful moments lie ahead. Every single one of them requires you to get out of your own way. This is it. This is the invitation. I look forward to seeing you on the inside. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, your host, Christine Campbell Rapin. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. And be sure to visit christinecampbellrapin.com/podcast to get a free resource on how to master your marketing message. We'll see you all on our next episode.